Hello and welcome back to the I'm Hungry podcast. Got the what is this, like a summer update, I
Our
guess?
summer monthly update is what I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't even think we did anyone even comment on the last video.
Yeah, Colin said do monthly to in order to meet expectations.
Okay. I see that now. I'm looking at it.
Mhm. And then I think my dad
Says I
agreed
want
with that.
a reunion special with a midsummer celebration extravaganza.
Oh,
Sheesh.
wait, who said that?
Your dad.
Okay,
That's funny. With
nice.
special guests.
Yeah, well, we
Damn.
gotta get. All right, yeah, we should actually get some guests, and we should make some segments. You
Yeah,
know,
we really should.
dedicated like discussion segments or like the fun topics or games or something.
Yeah, we really should. That'll be the goal for this next year, is
Yeah,
actually get like a format, I guess.
yeah. Season two goal is
Season
to,
2. I
yeah.
like it.
Well, we should ask our audience, what would you like, what segments would you like to see? Like, do you have anything in particular? 'Cause, I mean, so far our only ideas, or my only ideas were guest stars and like random discussion topics, in
Yeah.
addition to like updates about our life.
When
Like,
yeah, my idea with this podcast, when I first came up with it, is was basically just like, have you ever watched the TMG podcast? Yeah. No.
I don't watch any podcasts.
Okay, well, the TMG podcast is like Cody Ko's podcast. Do you know who Cody Ko is?
No,
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
he's a big YouTube guy, and like he does a podcast with his friend Noel, and
Okay.
their podcast is literally just like they just talk about like random shit and like what's going
Yeah.
on with them and like what's going on in the world. So like, and
Right.
it's super popular. Like, so I was like just trying to emulate that. Like that was the
Yeah.
template, at least in my head. But
Yeah.
now I think we're sort of getting an idea of what we want to do, which is nice.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
so we
well,
saw it,
audience
huh?
comment. I was saying, reminding the audience to comment if they have any suggestions for what
Yeah,
they'd like to
yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. We
Or
we saw each other the other day.
yep, yep. We played Star Wars Edge of the Empire role playing.
Yeah, I went over to Daniel's house. It was fun. Uh, for anybody listening that has never played like a role playing like Dungeons and Dragons type game, first of all, like I definitely should. It's like one of the most fun things you can do with your friends, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if it's like in Arizona, for example, like when it's just like way too hot out during the summer to like do anything actually.
Yeah,
It's a little fun thing to get together. Um, Even when it's like nice outside or like you could do other things, like it's just a fun time to like get together and do things. So
yeah,
that one's a fun one. It's like Star Wars based. You can like make your class and stuff. You can be like a Jedi or like a smuggler. It's pretty cool.
yeah. It's nice because you also
Um,
have like there's like the pre-made. One of the biggest reasons I like it is there's like the pre-made universe already. So you have the framework
yeah,
and like there's a story already that exists within the universe, but you can obviously just make your own totally separate story, or you can like have it kind of fit in with the lore
yeah.
instead of just being like like the Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think there's like
It's
one
just like
universe.
fantasy
Yeah,
general.
right. It's just kind of like whatever each campaign is always going to be like its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
its own separate story, or from one person from one game master to another game master. It's like there's no
Completely
cohesive.
different world basically.
Yeah, there's no like universal stories. I mean, I guess there are, but there's no like in Star Wars, it's like the Republic and then the Empire and Civil War and you know,
Star Wars is like your favorite like sort of fantasy franchise, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
What about Star Wars is like so interesting to you?
Well, it's just
Like
been
specifically Star Wars. What about Star Wars?
uh
It's
I don't know, I
just
just
like
like
better than everything else.
I don't know, just something like magical about it a little bit, you know? Just because it's not, Star Trek is cool, but they're exploring, and there's politics, and it has a lot of the same ideas as Star Wars, but Star Wars like originally was just
Star Wars is definitely a little more like mystifying.
yeah, it's like gritty, and there's like it's like it was like the first idea of like let's have our main characters not be space explorers, but just like let's throw in a
Like
space
regular
criminal.
people in
Yeah, like a
space.
regular guy, a person who wants to leave, and like a criminal, and there's like a war going on, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just cool. And
It's yeah.
I started watching the movies when I was like 3 or 4, really
Nostalgic.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like pretty much my entire life. That's like been
That's
my
pretty.
thing.
Yeah, that's
So
cool. I always liked Star Wars as a kid. I never really got as into it as some people though, but I definitely like it. I don't even know what my favorite like sort of fantasy world would be. It'd definitely probably be something with like anime or something like that.
oh yeah,
The thing is though is that like there's not a lot of like thing I like about like sort of Western like fantasy is they put a big emphasis on like connected worlds, like from the DC universe to the Marvel universe to like Star Wars and like expanded universe, and
yeah,
like usually there is some form of like expanded like story universe that comes along with like
right,
Western
yeah,
Western fantasy media, whereas like Eastern media with like anime and manga and all that, it's usually just like contained stories in that universe unless they
yeah.
do like a
They're on.
sequel series or but even then it's still like just sort of like its own thing. So I like that about Western, but the thing about I think I like about like the Eastern media in that aspect is that it creates the opportunity for like they don't have to follow as many like continuity, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Because that's I feel like that's one thing people are always like griping about when it comes to like comics or stuff like that is they're like, oh no, like that completely messes with like the timeline or whatever, like it doesn't
Yeah,
make sense. And then like look at DC, they've had to do like fucking like 8 different reboots of their universe over the past like
yeah,
30 30 years.
yeah. Continuity is a big thing. Like, I get it. It's fun. It's really nice when you're watching a movie that's part of an expanded universe, and it's like there are references, but they're like they don't even have to be references to other stuff, just that that it fits in. You can tell that it works with everything else.
Yeah.
It's fun. As like as a person watching it, you get to like kind of feel like you're in the universe. So yeah, I can definitely understand that. That's probably a big reason why I like Star Wars role playing so much is because you can make your own stories that for sure are part of the overall
Yeah.
like the overarching plot.
What is audience, what is your favorite fantasy world? Comment down below.
Yeah.
I think it's funny how like the entire like we always bring it up, but like the entire like time we've been recording this, we've always talked to the audience as if like we have like this big following, but it's basically only like your dad and like grandma and Colin.
Yep,
I
pretty
think it's
much.
funny.
I think those are like consistent viewers, yeah.
It's funny though. I like it.
Yeah. I
What
think
it? Oh,
I think
sorry.
we'll get bigger. A little bit bigger, maybe.
Like that. Yeah. It's like like, cause it's all about like if you just keep doing it, right? Like
Yeah, eventually.
eventually you'll get like stragglers here and there that are like, oh, these guys are kind of neat.
Yeah. I feel like we can get a sizable group, especially if we implement a format. Like we
Yeah.
have like segments or games or something.
Interaction.
Yeah, like specific things that the audience can be like, oh yeah, well, they're gonna do this now. I like this part.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, are they just like, what are they gonna talk about this week? That can be fun, but also it's nice to have like some order.
Yeah. In order for us to just talk about like whatever, I feel like we would need to like, get a fan base that is more attached to our personalities than
Yeah.
the subject matter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like people like stars who have already have followings from other stuff. They can just do whatever, and people will watch it because they like the person.
Mm-hmm.
Just enjoy watching those people specifically doing whatever. They don't really care.
Yeah.
So,
But
like we were just watching. Do you know Top Gear or the Grand Tour? Those
oh yeah,
car
yeah,
shows.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were just we watched the first episode of Clarkson's Farm yesterday.
What is that? I've never
Um,
heard of that.
you know Jeremy Clarkson?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's he has a farm and like the show is about him, like the actual person who runs the farm is like retiring, and so he decides to like he's gonna do it himself, like he's gonna, start farming.
That's funny.
And it's pretty funny. It's because
He
he's,
was
it's just
like,
like he doesn't know anything about farming, so he's like all these like people come in and help him figure out what to do, and he like goes to an auction and gets secondhand equipment and learns
that's
how to.
funny.
And like it was kind of cool because the first
He's a
episode, the audience kind of learns how to do some of the farming stuff as well. Like I didn't know what, how to like cultivate and drill a field, and like you had to put tram lines in there so you can come back later and know where you are, and
yeah.
like it's kind of educational and funny.
Like
So
that's what I'm talking about. Like those guys, like the Top Gear guys,
yeah,
that is like exactly the example of like people are attached to their personalities, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like they could
yeah,
just sort of do anything and
right.
people will be like, "Oh, it's the Top Gear guy."
Yeah. Like James May, the other one of the other guys has a cooking show and everyone loves like we watched that one. It was really funny and awesome. But it's like it definitely wouldn't be as awesome if it wasn't James May, if it's just some random person who just
Yeah.
started. It's much funnier to see someone who's like doing something you know that they've like never really done before from like a completely different
Yeah.
genre.
At the same time though, like at the same time though, maybe it's just like a jaded point of view from my perspective, but like I feel like that could might maybe even get a little tiring being like known for your personality rather than your work, because then everybody's gonna have an idea of like like a set idea of who you are as a person. So but like
Yeah.
people aren't like that. They're more definitely more dynamic, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
if you do something that differs from what people identify you as, they might not like it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And I
on the
mean,
other end, if you like go hard at it and you're like, nah, like I'm more than just the Top Gear guy. I could be like a author. I could be a
yeah.
like a serious drama movie star. Like, and if you really ride that hard, your diehard fans will probably go with you.
Yeah.
And then you
And
could probably get out of that mold. But yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's like I mean, it's it's unfortunate because the audience, a lot of the audience probably can't separate your personality as a performer from like what your actual personality might be. Like they see how you are on screen or in whatever media, and then they assume that that's how you are all the time. But very often, the people who get really big are not like
yeah,
exactly how that's like a character of themselves.
mm-hmm.
That's a character they've created. And so it's still like even when you realize, even when you like keep that in mind that that might be the case, it's still just as entertaining, but you just don't have you're not held back by the misconception that they're like they always have to be this person, and then when they like aren't, you can still enjoy them if you already are prepared for that.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting.
The trials and tribulations of being publicly known, I guess.
Yeah, us one day.
Do you want to be famous like in the future?
I would want to be famous in the way that like great scientists are for famous for discovering or solving some problem, not
Yeah.
for entertainment, probably. Although I would like to direct movies. Like that's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I want to
Would
be like you're the person who came up with the solution, one of the solutions to climate change, or like
yeah.
that kind of thing, or
That's cool.
discovered. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's something I've thought about a lot because when I was younger, I say younger, but probably like most of like high school, I would say like I if you'd asked me that question, I would have said like, oh yeah, definitely. Like
Okay.
in any capacity pretty much. Like
Yeah.
I would definitely love to be famous, whether it be like famous YouTuber, famous movie star, famous author, famous scientist, just like as long as people like know my name, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But I've asked a lot of people that question, and it's interesting because you get a lot of different responses and a lot of different reasons for their response. Like, and something that one person said was that like they don't want to be known. Like they
Yeah.
just simply don't want their name to be out there. Like they don't want to be known by people. And I was kind of like, huh? Because it's like they just sort of like the person I was talking. They just sort of wanted to like live their life. And I was like, what? Like, huh? But like now I've thought about it a little more. It's like, yeah, I guess there is like a simplicity to it. I still think I would
Yeah.
definitely like to be like known,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I think like as a child or like an adolescent, it's definitely like I think it'd be better. It's better to be just sort of yourself as an adolescent and then
Yeah.
gain fame later on because you sort of
Do you think you'd prefer to be a famous actor late, like that's started being famous later in your career rather than like a child actor who became famous and then had that the rest of their life?
uh I mean like it depends because there's I can think of like it's like an extreme hypothetical, right? Because there's so many different variables. But
Yeah.
if I had my way 100%, I think I would like to be a famous child star, but at the same time, like, have a team around me that keeps me very grounded, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
sort of like people around me that are aware of the like you're still a kid and like you like I'm responsible for you, sort of like as much as I think I would hate it as a child if I was famous, sort of like them telling me what to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then as I get older I sort of do my own thing, but like you see that even in kids, like look at like all the Disney stars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're completely fine up until the point where they turn to adults and they go crazy, right? So it's I don't know what would
Yeah.
happen, but I think I would have. I think I like the idea of being a child star
Okay.
because it.
You don't think that you don't think you might have like not been able to have like you wouldn't probably have been able to have the normal high school experience that you did, right?
Yeah,
Like is that not a problem? Or I mean you probably could have had something close to it, but it just would have everyone would have known who you were, you know.
yeah. I don't know because it's like I.
Foster took a picture with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Sign my forehead.
I don't know. I feel like there's but I feel like it's like a sort of a non-issue in my head because it's like I'm grateful that for like the experience that I've had as a adolescent and a child. Like I think I had a pretty decent like time of it.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, like being a child star, I feel like it opens a ton of doors in terms of like your life uh, possibilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
Because
true.
you gain that recognition as a child, and then the people that grow up with you, people that are the same age as you, like all the Disney Channel stars, like look at like Selena Gomez, like Miley Cyrus, like they're most girls. Now that I think about it, but like
Mm.
all Zac Efron, for example,
There
like
we go.
yeah, like he, it's like he was in High School Musical, but now he's like this famous guy that like is, in my opinion, he's a really good actor. I like a lot of the stuff he does, and it's like he could sort of just do whatever, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Right.
his name has a lot of like power within social influence, so he could just sort of be like, I want a cooking show, or like
Yeah, right.
I want to buy a sports team, like
So what do you think? What do you think the allure, like what causes certain people to be predisposed to like the idea of being famous even before they know, like, I don't think anyone before they're famous can claim to know exactly what that entails. But like, what do you think? What's the character trait that causes certain people to want to be famous, and certain people, like the person you were talking to be like, no, I don't want people to know. I don't want everyone to know me.
uh honestly, it's kind of sounds bad, but in my opinion, probably like ignorance combined with like vanity, or maybe like just one or the other. Because it's
Already,
like,
okay. So you don't think it could be uh do you think it's always a combination of like a limited number of traits, or could it be like could one person's aspiration to be famous be derived from a completely different character trait than somebody else?
I think there's definitely like people that are like, oh, I want to be famous for X reason that is not related to that.
Okay.
But I think for most people, this is a vast generalization, but I think for most people that say just like I want to be famous because being famous sounds cool,
Yeah.
like I think that is a combination and or like an excess of ignorance and vanity,
Hmm.
because it's like ignorance in the sense that it's like you have no idea what being famous entails, like what we were talking about,
Yeah.
like everybody always constantly on you and stuff like that. And like look at like someone like Britney Spears. It's like she just like when she was like at her peak of like popularity, she was just getting like bombarded constantly by paparazzi. Her name was all over the
Yeah.
news, and people would just be like making rumors about her and talking about her, and she just sort
Yeah.
of had to like deal with that. And she was like our age at the time. She was like 19, 20, I think.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Huh.
and it's like ignorance in that sense, they don't really know what it means. And then vanity in the sense where it's just like they're so
Yes, you're
okay.
back.
I think I muted. I muted myself on Discord, but I didn't mute myself on the actual recording, so everybody just heard me talking to my mom. Oh my god.
Well,
See,
it's gonna be mixed with my voice, right? Like I was
You're gonna
saying.
be like, you're gonna be talking, like, oh, by myself, and I'm like, mom, I'm recording the podcast. Uh, I don't like,
Well, you can cut it out. You can cut it out.
dude. I'm not good at editing like that. I literally don't.
What? It's so easy. You just get the audio file and put it into like
Oh,
a
okay. I don't
iMovie or
edit these.
something.
I don't edit these at all. I literally just
Well, I mean,
verbatim.
it's not. There's not much editing required, right? Like usually, it's
Maybe this
just
could be my first foray into the world of editing.
yeah. Well, how much are you gonna edit all this out too, or just the part, and then we can like explain? Or
I'll
no,
pro.
we can just start up when you said, uh, everyone just heard that or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
we can just jump to that.
I
Yeah.
guess if you depending on what you're hearing right now, I either did edit out the part where I was talking to my mom, or I did not edit the part where I was talking to my mom. Uh, but yeah, I don't. I wish I was back in my dorm.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Like,
I like seeing family, and I like being back home. It's nice, but like my house is not, it's not very big, and like my mom just got a new house, so like we're
yeah, right.
redoing it right now. We're redoing like our old house because we're gonna sell
Okay.
it. And so like there's no furniture, like basically all the furniture is gone except for like the main couch in like the living room.
Oh,
And
wow.
then like they put like laminate flooring in instead of like we used to have like carpet in our rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
So now everything like echoes all the time, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
can hear like everyone can hear everything basically, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't like that. But what were we talking about before, like
Yeah. Fame and Britney Spears. It was like
yeah,
fame in general and Britney Spears was one.
vanity, yeah.
Yes.
So it's
I
like
was wondering, so like what is vanity then? Like what evolutionarily or like biologically, is it just
uh
the desire to be liked?
no, it's like uh extreme, like, or not extreme, but it's just like narcissism basically.
Yeah. Where
Like
does that come from though? Like
narcissism.
surely that comes from something about like you thinking you're so good. You're like, narcissism is, you think you're great, right?
Yeah,
But why does that come about? Is it just because you think you're great, and is that like a self-justification for why you think other people should like you? Like,
that's what I'm saying, like combined with ignorance, because I feel like narcissism comes out of a, whether it be like choosing to ignore the fact that like other people are there, or like unaware of the fact that other people are there and doing things. It's like
yeah,
ignorance of your own ineptitude, so you like overestimate your abilities, and or like
underestimate.
ignorance of a certain situation, so you overestimate your or you like sugarcoat your idea of it,
Yeah, and you overestimate yourself and underestimate
the
everything
situation.
else,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. But why is that a thing though? Like what?
I have no idea. That's some like brain chemical shit.
Yeah. So so we think vanity is why people want to be famous.
Yeah, I think
Mostly.
for most
Yeah.
people, yeah.
Hmm.
They want to be like they want people to love them and stuff.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
could
so that's
be,
what I'm wondering.
yeah, that
Yeah,
could
it's
be like a source
like
of
a
it. Is
yeah, like the drive to be loved by as many people as possible.
like everybody likes you.
Yeah.
Um, but very
Weird.
often you get people
Yeah.
you get the opposite and you get a lot of haters.
Yeah. Very like fame comes with pretty much equal parts
Excuse me, by the way, I just burped.
hate and love. But I didn't hear anything.
Okay,
You can edit that out too.
nah, leave that in. But yeah,
Double-edged sword.
I always whenever I like talk about vanity, I always am reminded by about this storybook that I read in like third grade, and it was about the origin. It was like it's like an old. I'm not sure if it was like a Mexican folk tale. I think it was like a Latin cult, like a Latin folk tale, some type of like Southern American or like Spanish culture folk
Okay.
tale about like the origin of a weather vane.
Oh, nice.
And it was about this chicken who was just so like vain. Like that was the thing, is he was an extremely vain chicken, and he was like he would walk around and act like he was a shit basically, and everybody like they put up with him, like everybody around him. There was like other characters that were like animals or like inanimate objects, and they put up with him, but they didn't exactly like him. But he thought that like everybody loved him and like he was the
Yeah.
shit. And I forget exactly how it goes, but he ends up like being forced on top of like a barn, and he is like in charge of uh, pointing which direction the wind goes, because he's really good friends with the wind, because like it has something to do with like the farmers need to know which direction's the wind going or whatever. And
Yeah.
like he's really good friends with the wind, so he just spends the rest of his life on top of the barn, um, being a weather vane, and that's where that comes from, the term the weather vane, because the chicken is very vain, and weather vanes are usually shaped like chickens, or at least they have like a
That
chicken.
wow. Wait, but what happened to the why did the vanity where'd the vanity come in like in
I
the
think
end
it
of
was
that?
because like it was because of like his vanity that he had to do that job or something like that.
Okay.
It was because he
Was the
was
wind
like, hmm?
was the wind actually his friend?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure if I remember right.
And weather vanes, the chicken usually points into the wind, right? Or is
It
away
points
from
the
it?
direction the wind is blowing.
Okay, so it's away from the wind. Huh.
Yeah, it like pushes.
Weird.
So if it's coming from the north to the south, it's gonna point the south.
Yeah.
But yeah,
His beak is going to point to the south, right?
yeah, like the
If I'm
weather
not wrong.
vane will.
Yeah. Well, I
But
mean,
yeah,
you could point the weather vane the other direction, the chicken the other direction, and then you would like always like it seems if he's super vain, it seems to make more sense that he'd be like talking to the wind all the time, you know? So like that's I was like, does the
I
beak
can't
point into
remember
the wind?
exactly how the story goes. You know what I mean?
Well,
It was in like third grade,
yeah.
but
We
that's
don't do research here on this podcast.
oh, we're just
We just yeah,
we're just
we
chopping
just
it
try.
up,
Exactly.
just spitballing. That's what I always think about whenever I like use the term, like every time I use the term like vain or vanity, I that always pops up in my
That
head.
story.
Yeah, the chicken.
That's cool. I
Um,
wonder if-
but yeah,
huh.
I think like even now, like I think I still wouldn't enjoy being famous too much. I think I would like it, but I don't think I would like to be on the level of someone like Leonardo DiCaprio or something like
Yeah.
that. I think
Yeah.
maybe like a small YouTube following that might be kind of neat.
Right. Yeah. Well,
But
we're on track.
yeah, you know. uh,
Dreams
but
coming true.
what about you?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to be famous to like Leonardo DiCaprio famous. I think it just depends. Like, I wouldn't mind being famous, but it would have to be for, you know, the right thing. You know, I wouldn't want to be famous for movie acting, probably. I mean, that would be cool, but it's just not. I want to be famous for an achievement, you know, that helps.
Yeah.
Animals, or helped something
But what
help.
if you like? What if you were like? What if you starred in like a Star Wars movie, and then that was like a stepping stone to that, but you were still sort of known as like the Star Wars guy. Like you were in a
Yeah.
Star Wars
Nah,
movie.
I wouldn't like that very much, I don't think. I would want to do the achievement first and then star and stuff.
You wouldn't like to be like famous in a Star Wars movie, and then later on in life you develop like a bacteria that like destroys like breaks down plastic really fast or something like that.
No, yeah, I would want to be the other way around because like people would remember you not as the scientist who, you know,
Solved.
developed that, but they would remember as the Star Wars actor who developed it.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather be the scientist who discovered something great, who then later did some cool stuff. Like, oh, that's a cool scientist,
But
rather than that's a movie actor who managed to do some science.
yeah, I don't think I would mind either. I think both would have their merits
Yeah,
because I feel like being a superficial star in the eyes of the public first, and then going on to make a significant achievement. I feel like that could bring some credibility to the fact that like
you're out of it.
you can do more. Like you don't have to be defined by
Yeah,
one thing in your life, and you could sort of spin it that way too. You could be like,
yeah, definitely.
I've starred in a Star Wars movie, but I am also a Nobel Prize like science winner.
Yeah, right. But it's just like when you're dead and whatever, and you're no longer able to to spin it that way, whatever, and people remember you. They look at
What you
you
did, like
started.
what was the yeah? I feel yeah,
Yeah,
I get that. Like you're always sort of gonna be linked to the first thing you did.
yeah,
Like Miley Cyrus is always gonna be known as Hannah Montana. You know.
yeah. I actually did know that that was the same person. I always forget that too. Like when you just said that, I was like, you were like, Miley Cyrus is always going to be known as, and I was like, I wonder what he's going to say.
Really.
Yeah, I didn't. I was not a live action Disney watcher. I was pretty much just SpongeBob, and then
I was
later Phineas
Cartoon
and Ferb.
Network.
What?
Cartoon Network was my deal.
No,
I
yeah, I
loved
guess I
Cartoon
watched a little
Network.
bit of that, but
Huh?
not much. Watched a little bit of that, but it was mostly just SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yeah, high, high class comedy right there.
Oh, for sure.
Highbrow. That's
Like
why I'm so sophisticated now.
no big facts. Like people that watch SpongeBob, they get comedy. I'm not even joking. Like SpongeBob is so underrated in terms of like comedic like
Yeah.
writing. There's some
Well,
jokes in like early SpongeBob
oh yeah.
is some of the funniest like things I've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Yeah. And it's not even under like the people who watch it know that it's not underrated. Like or at least if you watched it when you were a kid and then watched it later, or even if you didn't watch it when you were a kid, but like the people who like watch it as, mostly adults, you can see that like the humor is still it's even more appealing almost.
Like the first SpongeBob movie, the one where they go to like Shell City and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Like
It's so good.
unironically, I think it's absolutely hilarious.
No, it's awesome.
The
Yeah.
whole part where they're like in the where like he doesn't get the job. Like just that whole sequence where like
Yeah.
this huge like press conference and then he's like the new manager is
Yeah.
Squidward tentacles and then SpongeBob's like yeah and then he goes to like Goofy Goobers and gets like drunk on ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waiter. Like that is gold. That is absolutely
It's all great.
hilarious.
There's
Like
like the assassin guy chasing them or whatever
yeah,
with the
like
boot.
what'll
Oh
be
no, wait.
fellas? Mustard.
Wait, no, he doesn't have the boots. He gets crushed by a boot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
But
what
like
happened.
that, the yeah, I know you're talking about
Yeah, okay.
the Krabby Patty car, like just all of that. Like it's funny as a kid because it's just so ridiculous, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, like I did not see that coming. Like that's funny, but then like once you're older, you're like, this is just still so ridiculous, but on
Yeah.
a whole different like
Just-
in a different whole different like way that it's
Yeah.
just like absolutely hilarious.
And there's so many, yeah, like so many great episodes. Like, so that's why I was like, you can watch SpongeBob. If you watch, the people who watch SpongeBob know that it's not uh underrated. I mean, like it's underrated by the people who just hear SpongeBob and know that kids, it's a kids show and whatever, and they're like, oh, that can't be that funny. But when you watch it, like there's some really great humor in pretty much all of the older episodes, and then the newer episodes get a little bit, but it's pretty much it's comedy gold for many of the episodes in like the older seasons.
Yeah. Damn, this episode's sort of just been like whatever we want to talk about so far.
Yeah,
Hasn't really been like an update.
no, not really. I feel like Colin said that he doesn't like it when we just talk about ourselves the whole time, though. So it's probably good. It's probably more
Yeah.
entertaining. But
Yeah.
yeah.
On that note, what have you been up to? What have you been up to during the summer so far?
Uh,
Like, what have you done in the month of what was it? January, February, March, April, May, June. What have you done in May?
in May, you mean like after school ended?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I've just been kind of doing miscellaneous stuff, like my own
Mm.
projects and things. Like I've
Yeah.
just been finishing lists and stuff. Um, and I've got projects lined up for like the rest of summer. There are like I have a list of, like ongoing projects that like are still I haven't finished yet that I want to finish.
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, wow. Okay, it's gone. I'll figure out where that went. But um so like this week or maybe like last week I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually schedule when I'm gonna do these things so that I can, like be accountable for them. So next week is the week where I'm going to work on finishing my recording of The Stranger by Billy Joel. I have all the
Word.
parts. Like, I already have all the parts recorded and everything. I just have to do the vocals.
We should
So
upload it to the channel.
what?
We should upload it to the channel.
Oh yeah, sure.
That'd
That's
be
a good
cool.
idea.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, because I can't actually sing it. Well, I can sing it in the octave that Billy Joel sings it, but I'm like a bass, and Billy Joel has like a really, he has a huge upper range. So I can also sing it an octave lower, and it's much more comfortable for me. But it also might sound kind of weird, so we'll
Huh.
see.
I think it'd
But
be cool just to post it anyways.
yeah, yeah, I
That's
will.
cool though.
Yeah, and so like then I've got other projects
Just
in the
tons of different
following week.
stuff.
Yeah.
Dope.
What
I've
about you?
been I've been sort of doing the same thing. It's been a mix of three things. It's been a mix of trying to find a job, uh, trying to do projects, and also just sort of chilling.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty much me as well.
I've been trying to get a consistent routine.
Yeah,
Like that's one thing. Maybe I'm getting like older and I'm getting more responsible or whatever, but I realized that like pretty much all my life I haven't really had like a set routine. Like I've just sort of like gotten up and done whatever I feel like during the day. Like I have like a set morning routine now. Get up, eat breakfast, brush my teeth and stuff,
yeah,
and I'll make it a point to like do that before I do anything else, and then
yeah, yeah.
like I try to like do like a lesson on Duolingo or something like that, and then
Nice.
uh but yeah, and then the other thing I noticed too is that like it the fact that I don't have a routine, like a set routine with like my life and stuff like that, I've just sort of been like aimlessly like using my time in like whatever way I want to at that point, which
Yeah,
doesn't is not very conducive of like actual like progress in terms of like things I want to be doing.
right.
Like I would do things during school and stuff like that, like Cowboy Club for example. Like that was a project that I had, but
Yeah,
that was motivated by like the academic like setting that we were in. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a club and like kids are gonna join it. Like I've never really like set out to do any projects just because like I want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
And being like coming home after the school year and stuff, I have all this free time now, and I'm not in like a setting of like academia where I'm surrounded by other people. And I was spending like a lot of time just not doing anything, and I was like, what the heck? And like didn't want to play video. I don't want to play any of the video games on my computer. I didn't really like want to do any of that stuff. And I was just like, I'm fucking tired of like just sitting on TikTok for like hours. So
Yeah.
that's like I have like a same thing as you. Like I have a list of projects that I'm trying to do. Like I'm trying to build a table right now, or like a desk.
Oh yeah.
I have this idea
Yeah, you
for
mentioned that before.
yeah.
Like a
I have this idea. It's gonna be like collapsing. Like
Okay.
I bought like all this stuff from Home Depot, and I'm still in the process of building it. But
Nice.
I want it to like, it's gonna sort of fold in on itself. So like, imagine like an M, like the letter M, right?
Yeah.
So straighten out the middle so it looks like a table.
Yeah.
It folds in like an M. So
Okay.
the two sides come up. There's a hinge in the middle. Two sides come
Yeah.
up, and then each leg is gonna have a hinge on it, so that it turns into like a flat sort of
Yeah. Right.
type
So
deal.
kind of like those plastic, the plastic tables that have the legs that fold inward and then they fold in half the other way, kind of.
Like the are you talking about like the folding tables, like the
I mean,
plastic ones?
yeah.
So yeah, like the legs will fold in like that, but
Yeah.
then also like the middle of the table, it was also gonna fold.
Yeah, well, we have one like that. Like we have one of those plastic tables, but it actually it also folds in half in the middle of the table after you're done folding the legs up because
Yeah.
it's like a long one. Yeah, so
So it's basically that, but I'm making it
nice.
out of wood.
Yeah, that's nicer for
Um,
sure.
I
Are you
wanna.
gonna like stain it and stuff?
Yeah, that was my plan. I like working with wood. That's something I discovered this past
Yeah,
like couple weeks. Is that like working with wood is it's fun. Like I don't know,
yeah,
there's something about it. I like the feeling of like hitting a nail into a piece of wood. I like the feeling of screwing something together. I like the feeling of sawing something.
yeah,
I like the smell. I like the way that like a nice piece of like wood after you like stain it looks.
yeah.
Like I went to like Hobby Lobby before I started building the table, and I bought like they had these little like wooden boxes for like $10. And I bought like one of those, and I like tore it apart with a hammer, and I made like this little like footstool, and I like stained it, and
Nice.
I'm like pretty proud of it. It's not like anything like super impressive, but I was just like, damn, like I did that, and it looks
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah. It's really fun. I have like an ongoing, like this is one of my really ongoing projects that I'm not going to be able to really finish until after I'm done with college, but it's like a big wooden enclosure for, some sort of reptile. Originally it was a crested gecko, but I could do other things
yeah,
depending on whenever I finish it, what I'm interested in. But it's like a, like kind of like a mini fridge sized wooden box. And I got the plywood. It's got wood putty on the insides because it's supposed to be watertight, and I'm gonna coat it in epoxy when I'm done. But like, yeah, I totally get the like when you have a plan and you put it all together and you can look at it and you're like, I built that. It's really satisfying.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I've never really had any projects in my life that like that I do just for me that like take like a committed sort of while to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm discovering the appeal of like working on something to completion and like seeing the finished product.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's definitely hard to keep up with it sometimes, but it's nice. I like
yeah,
it. Um, like I said, so I've been doing that. I've been just chilling, enjoying like not having the chaotic school year combined with
yeah,
COVID and just getting like 18,000 emails a day and not knowing which ones are important and which
yeah.
ones aren't. Um, I'm definitely excited to go back in person next year. think that'll be dope.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
I've been looking for a job. I've applied for like 5 jobs in the past like week. So I swear to God, if I don't get one of these, I'm gonna be so pissed. I applied at like the city of Scottsdale like a while ago, like the beginning of May, and they just got back to me
Oh wow.
uh like a couple days ago, and they're like, "Hey, like you're selected for an interview." And I was like, "Oh, cool." But the fucky thing is that if you interview and you do well, you don't even get the job right away. They put you on a list that's like, "Oh, these people are good to work
Oh,
here."
it's like a third stage.
Yeah, like you get put on a list, and it's basically like, "Oh, this guy is good to like offer a job." But if they don't have any open positions, you just get put on that list and you just sit there.
Stay there,
Like
yeah.
if they have open positions, you'll get a job right away. But if they don't have open positions, you just get put on a list, and then once a position opens up, they'll call you and be like, "Hey, do you want to work?"
That kind of sucks.
It does, and it's like I need a job now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
So
haven't like yeah, I'm also looking for a job. I'm also kind of just like but I sent an email to like one of like a family friend who's works for like a tech company, and I might be able to do some like, you know, bookkeeping or some sort of like assistant type
yeah,
stuff. And I also have I'm gonna send an email to the piano guys,
no,
YouTube. They're like musicians on YouTube.
I've never heard of him. No.
Well, they have an online piano store where they sell like 10 different types of nice electric pianos. And my piano teacher here, like not my professor, but I'm taking lessons again with my
Yeah,
old piano teacher. She forwarded me this email, and they're like looking for an e-service person who can like connect with customers on the website
sort of
and
like a
sell.
customer service rep.
Yeah, but also like you're supposed to like sell pianos to people. Like you're like they'll contact you and ask questions, and you're supposed to like, you know,
Really sell it. Be
find them
like,
a
this
fit and
piano
sell
is
it.
amazing. Like
Yeah, like you like like yes, I think if that's your budget and this is what you're looking for, this model would be perfect
you
for you. And
gotta,
it sounds kind of fun. I don't know. I have like lower than necessary motivation to do that right now, but like I also know that I want to and need
yeah,
to, so it's like I'm probably gonna send an email and say that I'm
I do
interested,
it.
but
Yeah,
seems kind of cool.
sounds
And it would
cool.
be remote, but
You have
yeah,
to be like the piano aficionado, but that's
yeah.
pretty much what you are. So
I'll be
sounds perfect.
Oh, did you? I another thing that I did early in the summer was that concert, the SCC orchestra concert where
I'm
I
not
played
gonna
my
lie, I never watched it. My
You never
bad.
watched it? That's
No,
all right. I was just curious. But yeah, if you're ever interested in a 10-minute, well, if you just watch mine, it's like 10, 11 minutes long.
I'll watch it today. I will.
Okay,
I swear.
yeah.
And
Let me know what you think.
I'll text you about it.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was really fun. I that was like the first time that I've played with an orchestra live, and also like really had a performance where I felt like it was a real performance,
Yeah,
like I played at school a lot, and those are real performances too, but like
it was through
this
school.
playing with an orchestra of an adults that's being broadcast publicly, and it's like a thing where like I'm
It was something like
it's
you set out to do. Like
yeah, like
it wasn't
I
part of like
brought it.
orchestra class.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, even yeah, like, so in orchestra, I'd be like, I want to do this piece and whatever. But you always had a platform. Like the fact that I was in orchestra meant I always had like a ready platform to do that. And the people who attend are mostly just the parents and whatever. But
Yeah,
this is like an orchestra that already exists, like in a college with adults in it.
yeah,
And I know the conductor is the same as my orchestra teacher, but I had to reach out and say, would you guys like to play this concerto? And I had
exactly.
to
Yeah,
learn it. And even the cool thing was on when I was on the stage and I was like, because I have like 5 minutes of orchestra introduction before I actually start playing. So I'm sitting there, just kind of like or getting ready and trying not to like freak myself out and whatever, like stay calm and get the balance of nerves right. Um, and it was interesting because like the whole time I just was like focusing really, really hard on, calming, not trying to calm down necessarily, but just, not to freak out, not to think too hard, just
yeah,
to play it, So it felt like it felt like a mature performance, like I did mess up a lot, there's always going to be little missed notes and stuff, but everything that I wanted to execute, I did the way that I wanted, and yeah, it was like it was a pretty cohesive performance, and
That's
I
dope.
felt like I mentally had brought my game as well as just with the piano.
That's
So
dope.
yeah, it was fun.
It's very sick. But yeah, exactly. It's like something you set out to do,
Yeah,
and you did it, and it was like not something that was sort of just like handed to you. Like you really went out there and you approached them, and you were like, "This is what I want to do," and you did it. So
yeah,
that's cool. Like we're like, yeah, that's what I'm saying about like the projects and stuff. Like it feels like we're actually like officially doing things
yeah.
now.
Right.
It's cool. But yeah, other than that, I don't really been. I'm playing a lot of basketball,
Yeah, you mentioned that. It's cool.
and yeah, I've low key been getting kind of nice with it, and I ain't gonna lie. Like my 3-point shot, it's kind of wet. It's kind of water, you know what I mean? It's got
Yeah,
splash, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I get nothing but net, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Not all the
Sweet.
time. I say probably like 4 out of 7 shots I'll make.
That's pretty good. That's
I
over 50. Like that's yeah.
Okay,
And how many
maybe
on the
not that
same
good.
road?
Maybe not that good. Like 3 out of 6. I'll give myself 50.
Okay.
I say 50%.
And but out of those, how many like go in? Not just nothing but net.
I'd say I have like a make percentage of like I would say like around 40-50%.
Okay. Yeah. So wait. So
Um
you're saying your make percentage is 50%. What's your swish
like just
percent?
swish percentage. Okay, maybe like 30.
Okay, yeah. I mean that's pretty out of your make. Oh wait, okay. Yeah, never mind. Sorry. All right, yeah. That's still pretty like
Yeah. And then
that's significant.
I was telling you I learned how to do like the like between the legs. I learned how
Yeah.
to like dribble in between my legs. I was telling you the other day, like when I saw you, I was like, in my head, like that's always been like the mark of like someone who's like actually good. And
Yeah. It's super
feel
complicated.
now I feel all cool because I'm
Yeah.
doing like between
The
my legs and shit.
that was me with riding my bike with no hands. Just sitting.
I
Cause like
still don't
you
know
look.
how to do that. I
I
still
just
can't do
figured
that.
like one day I was like just riding and I was like, I could ride with one hand easy, and I was like, I wonder
Yeah.
like if I can just try this, and I like just kind of like released the handlebar, and I was good. And I was like, okay, just what if I'll just keep my weight over my seat, and it's so easy. Like it feels like you have your hands on the handlebars,
Well,
but you just
damn.
don't. So like I'm just like right, I'm just you don't
Maybe I gotta
obviously
try
I
it.
don't do it when it's dangerous, but I'll be like on the long straight at the end of my route back to my dorm. I'll just be like just going. My hands are like at my sides or like up in my lap, or I'm like rubbing them together. What I look like, I'm like, I look so cool right now.
That's kind of
Yeah.
sick.
And like it's the same thing as the basketball. It's like that's the mark of someone who's like really comfortable on a bike,
Yeah.
or one of them. You can be real even better than that, but
Yeah.
like that the person is like comfortable enough on a bike to do that.
They
They're
know what
like,
they're doing. They know what they're
yeah.
doing.
So
That's
I was
cool.
like, now I just do that. It's really fun because I can turn to I can thread between objects and stuff. I'm pretty decent at it.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting at like 54 right now.
Oh yeah, I think it's time to end then.
Yeah. What should we title this one? I'm thinking
Fame for sure, right?
what?
Something about well, we talk about fame a lot.
Yeah. I'm thinking Midsummer Musings, colon, fame and progression.
Progression. Why
Because
progression?
we were talking about like how fame affects a
Oh
person,
yeah.
and like would you want to be famous before, would you want to be famous after? And then we were also talking about like what we've been doing and how we've been like doing projects, and we just
Wait,
talked about how
wasn't
like
wasn't there something in between the fame and the projects though?
like
Like
SpongeBob.
we talked. Oh yeah. Was it? Yeah.
Fame, progression, and SpongeBob.
Why? Wait, is the progression part of the fame though? I feel like it
Yeah.
doesn't. Well, I feel like it should just be fame then. That's we're talking about the progression is also part of the fame
Yeah, but
conversation.
like at the end here, it was not connected to fame. It was more about personal progression.
Okay, so what about? Well, we should do it in order then. Fame, SpongeBob, and
Fame,
progression.
comma, SpongeBob, comma, progression. So
Yes,
Midsummer Musings,
I think it
colon.
should be Midsummer Musings on fame. No colon. I think just musings on these topics.
Okay, all right,
You know.
sounds good.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Tell us how'd you like this episode? Give it a like, comment, subscribe.
Let us know some formats that you'd like to
Let
like.
us know what kind of segments you want to see in the coming year that we can work on. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say?
That's it. Till next time, audience.
Until next time, I'm Foster.
I've been Daniel.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye. Oh, hang on one second. I'm busy right now. That was my mom. She's knocking on my
All right,
door.
it's the Daniel show again.
What?
Don't know where Foster went. Hello.
Mom, I'm recording the podcast. Can you talk later?
All right, well, I guess I'll say my piece. I don't know if
Okay.
Foster's still
Alright.
listening.
So, can you hear me?
I was just gonna say that I
Can you
wonder.
hear me or no?
Oh, there we go.